What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're for a brand new Madden 25 realistic rebuild of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, we've all kind of been waiting as a football world to see what happens between Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers, as it seems like potentially the final landing spot if Aaron Rodgers is going to sign with the team ahead of the 2025 regular season. Now, Aaron Rodgers could just probably sit and wait, stay in shape, and gamble it. There may be an injury on a playoff hopeful team and kind of go in that way, which, I mean, that could work out well for him. But I think as far as like a rebuild is concerned, Aaron Rodgers is almost certainly one and done. I mean, getting this roster to 100% accuracy was damn near impossible for the Steelers team, as Cam Hayward, in the 4 different times I started this franchise, just retired. And then if I manually made it so he didn't retire, then there's a Madden glitch where he just won't retire. He'll play till he's 70. So I said, all right, we'll take the writing on the wall. We'll make it that much more difficult of a rebuild, and we will lose an All-Pro, who likely is probably returning for his final season this upcoming year. But as far as Aaron Rodgers coming to the team, now we did a rebuild where I did a couple different scenarios for Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers, on the Giants, and on the Vikings. And I actually did win the Super Bowl year 1 with Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers, which that didn't really make me want to run it back with Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers in today's video, unless it actually happened in real life. But the longer and longer we keep waiting for that decision to come down to it, I think you just start to get a little bit worried about what the quarterback situation is going to be for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are picking at, 21 in the upcoming draft. There is no likely scenario that a quarterback falls to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the draft that they're going to be content with, to start anyways. Like, maybe there's a 1 in a million chance that a Shedeur Sanders might fall a little bit. But again, I compare him, and every time I do a mock draft, I compare him to Bo Nix last year, where, Cam Ward, he's a first-round quarterback. Shedeur Sanders is a second-round quarterback, but I also had Bo Nix as a second-round quarterback. And you look in hindsight at what Bo Nix was able to do with the Denver Broncos, you're drafting him in the first round. Every time you're drafting him top 10, you might even draft him top 5. And I think something similar could be said in hindsight for Shedeur Sanders. But for the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're going to be looking and talking about the Quinn Ewers, the Jackson Darts, the Jalen and Milrose, the Tyler Shucks of the draft class. And does that really get you excited for the upcoming season? Probably not. So I've been wanting to figure out a way to do this rebuild idea for a minute. There's a certain player that I am incredibly disappointed with us doing a retro Pink Slips franchise that I can't just see what happens with him as a starting quarterback in Madden. And I think today, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, is a perfect opportunity to at least explore that. So if I got put in charge, you said, C4, you're general manager of the Steelers. Of course, that's what we're doing here in this rebuild. And you said, we are not trading up for a quarterback. We're staying put at 20. We don't have a second-round pick because of the DK Metcalf trade. So now you're just in the absolute crapshoot of the draft for a quarterback. So I'm going to pivot. Not much in free agency, with Aaron Rodgers just kind of being the last name there. Maybe that's not going to work out, even though there was just a report that he worked out and through with DK Metcalf. If I'm looking around the league, there are 2 backup quarterbacks that I'd be calling around. One would be Tanner McKee of the Philadelphia Eagles. Not as exciting as the quarterback that I'm going to trade for, but I think Tanner McKee played a couple games last year, started in the season finale. He has starting traits in the NFL. I'm actually very surprised that Kellen Moore, going to the Saints, hasn't tried to trade for Tanner McKee, because I absolutely would go with Tanner McKee and the potential upside versus just another it is what it is year with Derek Carr. That's just me personally. But I think the most interesting quarterback that's available, and I think is worthy enough, trait-wise, for a rebuild, is Joe Milton on the New England Patriots. 6'5", 250 pounds. So he has prototypical size. His traits are off the charts. 98 throw power, can scramble, is a dual threat, needs refinement. Absolutely. He's maybe not fair to say he's an outright project quarterback, but I also think, like Tanner McKee for the Philadelphia Eagles, there were moments, preseason, cleanup duty, whatever, where Joe Milton was like, damn, that guy had a chance. Maybe there's something there. And I think if you're looking at Joe Milton in comparison to like the second-tier quarterbacks in this upcoming class, to a Jalen Milroe, to a Jackson Dart, to a Quinn Ewers, Tyler Shuck, Will Howard, whoever, I probably would consider Joe Milton maybe my preferred option if we were grouping him in with those quarterbacks. So that is what we're going to do here today. Joe Milton, can you be the answer? Can you be the savior for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Now, the Patriots played a little bit of hardball, had to throw in a couple. I thought a 4th was good enough, but 2 7s got this one over the line. The Steelers have 4 7th-round picks for the upcoming class. So we are able to, if you said, even if you erase the name value and you said C4, you got quarterback A here, generated quarterback, whatever. That's 6'5", 250. Now he's 25, so that's on like the higher end. Like I've seen, 25-year-olds have got drafted, 24, soon to be 25 quarterbacks. Like what was Bo Nix? Probably in the similar range. But he has 98 throw power, big time dual threat speed. I'm giving up a 4th and 2/7 for that every day of the week. So we now have, hopefully, the quarterback of the future. I mean, that's the problem with the Steelers. That whole record of like Mike Tomlin never having a losing season. Well, unless you just commit to a rebuild and get rid of him, he's probably never. He's always going to be having this team playing around that level. And there's just not quarterbacks that fall into your lap, picking in the high teens to the mid-late 20s. So you have to, this is the way. This is the way for the Pittsburgh Steelers to get a quarterback, to get a young, potentially franchise quarterback. Tried something similar with Justin Fields. I think you go back to that well and maybe get it to work with Joe Milton. The difference between Joe Milton and, whatever Justin Fields experiment went last year is like, well, we now have a healthy Troy Fautano. So you got a franchise tackle. You now have gone out and got DK Metcalf, a true win-now, game-changing wide receiver who is going to be the perfect between him and George Pickens, at least within the context of Madden. You don't have to deal with the personalities of these two players, who are personally two of my favorite players in the league. Go get it. 98 throw power. Bombs away. So while it is a little frustrating that we don't have Cam Haver for one season, I am still very cautiously optimistic that this is going to find its way to work out. And now that we kind of have the quarterback situation figured out, I mean, we could go and address a 3-4 defensive end with that 20th selection in the draft. We can go out and look at maybe shoring up the offensive line if we don't fully believe in Broderick Jones, which I think there's still probably an opportunity to develop him a little bit. He's only 24. You don't want to necessarily give up on that right away, even though, kind of get the vibes that maybe there's a limited ceiling there. But you look at this team, the offensive line is good. You have a tight end. You have a receiving weapons now. You have Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. I think it's a great 1-2 punch in the backfield. Defensively, Benton is a fringe cornerstone type player, I think, that you can kind of count on him to be here for the majority of the rebuild. You love Minkah Fitzpatrick. You love Highsmith and Watt. The linebacking cores, I'm going to probably push Wilson here over Holcomb to start just because of the high ceiling. I mean, has for some reason a -4 to his freaking rating. But he's a 5-star as a sophomore, which I think there's a lot of upside. You got Porter Jr. as your long-term corner. You get a win-now corner in Slay from the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll put the old C on his chest. We're the C here in Philadelphia. Yeah, we're going to go as far as Joe Milton will take us, but we're going to commit to him, and I think it's going to work out. So take a look at the draft board for the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 20. Well, we're in a spot where the quarterbacks are gone. As expected, Cam Ward went 3 to the Giants. Shedeur Sanders went number 9 to the New Orleans Saints. 4 on the clock at pick 21. We need a 3-4 defensive end. Unfortunately, you got Mike Green, who has issues off field. Ezraku, I'm a big fan of, but he's not a perfect scheme fit. We need D linemen. And we have Derek Harmon, who's probably becoming quite the popular pick. Looking at the corners, you still have Barron and Morrison are there as well. But I think for this scenario, given the fact that we had the, maybe not surprise, but the unrealistic retirement, that nothing I can do about it, of Cam Hayward, we have to go replace that on the defensive line. That's what we're going to get here in Derek Harmon. 6'5", 310, interior pass rusher, formerly of Michigan State, went to Oregon in the transfer portal, had a huge year. He got out of college football while his stock was at an all-time high. He just went to the combine. Off-season process, has been crushing it and has firmly established himself as a bona fide first-rounder no matter what way you cut it. I think Harmon and Benton is kind of the youth movement of our defensive front. Ooh, 75 in true value at 21. No dev trade. That stinks. Our second-round pick was DK Metcalf, so now in the third round, we can go right back to D-line. Darius Alexander at 6'4", 310, could play 3-4 defensive end. I think Gelati, 6'4", 275, 280, like that could be your slightly undersized player. And he actually just had an insane pro day. He's like a 9.7 RAS, which, I mean, that's not really 9.7 RAS, 4.6. But man, almost at this point, you need the dev trait. Darius Alexander, ugh. I mean, look at the corners just to be sure. Jacob Parrish. There's not much there. All right. Yeah, let's go Gelati. Kind of like a hybrid player, if you will. Thought there'd be a dev trade. So take a look at our draft recap. The rating's not bad, man. For what limited picks. Able to get Rocket Sanders, 70, 69 on Crawshaw. We need a starting punter. Marshall in the 5th round, 69, not bad. Gelati, 70. Harmon, 71. Would have been nice to get at least one dev trade. You could also factor in the fact that our 2nd round pick is, you know, $130 million DK Metcalf, which, I think, given the circumstances of our roster, pretty happy with that pick, if that's how you want to phrase it. And all it's going to take is, like, if, you know, if one of Harmon or Gelati, both probably going to start for us on our front 3 this year, can get in that defensive rookie of the year conversation, or can get enough snaps and enough stats to roll a dev trade, we're laughing with this. I'm getting a gold medal. I'm recording this whole thing. I'm going to put myself under pressure. I'm in my element now. Usually when I do this with like a highly rated quarterback and I'm not getting gold medals, I feel bad about myself. This is more in my line. I'm going with a sub-6, like a 65 overall quarterback. I play better when I'm terrible players. It's like the universe gets in sync. Bad Madden player with a bad overall rated player. These two combined, however, like chocolate and peanut butter. Look at this, man. We're on a good pace. I've only got gold medal in this drill. Yeah, I don't know, maybe 10 times this whole year. I'm not going to say how many times overall I've played it. The percentages, not good. So we want to get at least a silver, which will help Mr. Milton get at least one skill point, which we got, 13 seconds. Love these to speed up just a little bit. Growing out of the red, I don't think that matters anything. Boom! 25. 24. One more! Come on! Yes! Let's go! And off of that, we get only one. Very rarely, especially 65, you get gold medal. You can't flip that into a +2 overall, but at least we can make Joe Milton now a 66 scheme fit as we enter the season. And the Joe Milton NFL debut is a home game, week 1 against the Baltimore Ravens. Let's see if we now have the skill position players to get on the other end of a 98 cannon of an arm quarterback. Helmet on. Helmet always on. He's always ready for war. You got Lamar Jackson during the photo meet. Just be like, hey, I'm casual. I don't need a helmet on. Joe Milton thinks, if I gotta headbutt this guy, helmet is advantage. Because that's the kind of war, that's the kind of mentality that Joe Milton is going to bring to this Pittsburgh Steelers team. He's going to reignite this rivalry. Because let's be honest, right now, there hasn't been a whole lot. Playoff success. You take the Ravens, you look at the Steelers, you're probably taking the Ravens more often than not. That is what Joe Milton is here to change. Oh, baby. No safety over top. First play. 3 seconds into the 2025 regular season. O-line, give me a chance. Boom! Pittsburgh, go make this trade right now. Go do it. Right now. 80 yards. That was like, what, 80 air yards. Now, unfortunately, no more scoring for the rest of the first quarter, but here in the second quarter, got a nice drive going here. First and goal to get on the run. Hit this maybe Frymouth. Boom. Just, you can't teach 98 throw power. Now we're starting the fourth quarter. No one's saying that Joe Milton, as a project quarterback, is going to come in and make the Steelers just a prolific offense. But if we can, do a little bit of everything. An out-duel. Lamar Jackson, I feel pretty good about giving up a 4th and 2/7 to continue to see what could be. Oh, now we got Pickens on a slant. Get everybody happy. Everyone gets a touchdown. A great return on investment. 28-10, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. Might have just barely went over 200 yards. Not a ridiculous stat line. Not a player of the week stat line. But for a first career start, first win over a Baltimore Ravens team that is regarded as a, what, top 3 team? Maybe in the AFC? Hell of a way to start your Steelers career there, Mr. Milton. So we're at the midway point of year 1 of the Joe Milton era. We're 5-2. Not too shabby at all. We lost to Detroit. That's, Super Bowl contender. And you figured with the Steelers getting Joe Milton, we don't know. We're a question mark. We're a playoff contender, I think it's fair to say. with the baseline of this roster. Nothing's truly standing out. We do have a top 10 scoring offense, almost a top 10 passing offense. Defense, probably expect a little bit better than 20th, if I'm being honest with you. Taking a look at the contracts, we have over $100 million of cap room. We have TJ Watt. Now, if things, like, there is a chance in this, not in this video, but in real life, that the Steelers don't figure out the quarterback spot. Let's say they don't get Aaron Rodgers. They don't make a trade for Joe Milton, which I think that could still be on the table in real life. And no one falls to them in the draft, or they don't trade up or whatever. That if, like, the Steelers just have another quarterback purgatory season, like, you might have to look at, like, a little bit of a rebuild. And if they're doing a rebuild, you're probably looking at trading away TJ Watt. But in this scenario, we're going to try to keep this defense together. Kind of looking elsewhere. I mean, I think if Slay wants to come back for another year, we'll bring him back, and we'll be glad to have him, because it's a concerning corner room. I think it's fair to say that is a position that, even starting this next draft, if we can grab a big-time corner, we need to certainly consider it. I mean, I'm not over the moon with bringing back either Warren or Kenny G. We'll see where the stats kind of lie at the end of the year. Now, Pickens is going to be another interesting one. Making the move for DK Metcalf. Are the Steelers going to pay George Pickens? Clearly, in real life, he's a headache. And maybe you make the DK Metcalf trade, knowing that you're just going to have George Pickens for this year in real life, and then you're going to let him hit free agency. I am a gigantic George Pickens fan, and now that we're on the rookie contract of Joe Milton, I kind of feel like we can afford. Now, maybe a long-term contract could come back to bite us in the ass, but if he's only looking for a 3-year, that's going to work out with how I think this roster, salary cap-wise, is going to be built for the future. So the end of the season, kind of mixed results. Offense slowed down from where we were at midway. Defense picked it up. We finished 10-7. We don't have a first-round bye. We were 3rd in the AFC North, so while we keep Mike Tomlin's streak alive very harshly, we fail to make the playoffs with a 10-7 record, which is downright brutal. Now, statistically speaking, Joe Milton in his first year as a starter, we're going to treat him like a rookie quarterback. 3700 yards, 29 touchdowns to 16 picks. Definitely want to cut down on those interceptions a little bit, but for the most part of the season, he was below a 70 overall, so you got to take the good with the bad. 29 touchdowns through the air. He got 4 on the ground, so it's 30-plus touchdowns no matter what way you cut it. And we have, with the his rushing numbers, close to around 4,000 yards. So for that progress, we can build off of that. It's a good starting point. Now, if that ends up being his ceiling, we're probably going to be in for a lot of frustrating season ends. But if this is only the beginning, I want to be cautiously optimistic that it is. I feel all right about it. Look at the running back numbers. I do kind of get the vibe that this Pittsburgh Steelers team needs to be kind of a rental running back team. I don't think we need a franchise running back. So we're going to likely let both Kenny G and Jalen Warren bounce. Receiving, 2,000-yard receivers. DK Metcalf leads the team with 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. 1,100 yards, 12 touchdowns for George Pickens. So they are able to coexist. Decent numbers from Fryerbooth, but again, maybe much like the running backs, when his contract comes up, from a budgetary standpoint, our tight end is something that needs to be valued here in Pittsburgh. And I think that's kind of what we're going to see over the next couple seasons with Fryerbooth until his contract comes up. He's good. He's almost a 90 overall, but if you don't play like a 90 overall in our scheme, we are going to have to make a smart roster decision, because what I do see is both Metcalf and Pickens work. We need to pay these guys. Defensively, and I mean the last kind of thing on the offense as far as contracts is, between Jones, Fatano, Frazier, hell, even McCormick, there's a chance like that's where our money's going to go versus paying a tight end and a running back. If we can, Milton, if he pans out, he's going to get a decent contract. Probably won't be $400-500 million, but pay Milton, keep this young offensive line together, and by not paying running back and or tight end, if Fryerbooth doesn't justify his contract, I think we'll be able to make it work. Defensively, Watt was awesome. 79 tackles, 10 TFLs, 19.5 sacks, 9 sacks from Highsmith, 15 TFLs, 4.5 sacks for Derek Harmon. Pretty damn good. Benton maybe a little bit disappointing here with these sacks, but 11 TFLs is not too bad. Peyton Wilson leading the team with over 100 tackles. We got interception numbers pretty decent. Hat trick for Queen, Fitzpatrick, Elliott, Peyton Wilson, 2 picks for Porter and Slay. Not bad. TJ Watt's our only award winner, winning linebacker of the year. Another thing for context is, how do the rookie quarterbacks do? Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, do they compare favorably to what we got out of Joe Milton? And Shedeur Sanders, pretty much in the ballpark. Now, a little bit cleaner on the interception front, but they're in the ballpark. They're very similar, and one of these guys would have cost us quite a bunch to trade up for versus a 4th and couple 7ths. For the Giants, Cam Ward, get similar. Touchdowns are, over 30, which is slightly better, but the interceptions are a problem. So I think push comes to shove, not that giant of a difference in having Joe Milton as our starting quarterback in comparison to those guys, and Milton being a lot more cost conscientious. Now, at the end of the season, Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Who cares? The downside of all of this, as it relates to Joe Milton, is he is a little bit older. He is now 26 years old. So that window, quarterbacks start to progress around 30, give or take. Really, really need him to get that dev trait so we could strap a slight rocket to his development sooner rather than later in this rebuild. And the fact that we have to burn another season in hope of getting a dev trait, he didn't have a single breakout scenario all season long, there's a little bit of cause for concern there. On the dev trade front, Slay doesn't retire, so we get him back for one season. Harmon had a good enough year that he got off that normal dev trade, which is a win. Alex Highsmith gets the growth from superstar up to an X Factor, giving us 2 X Factor pass rushers. And, I mean, hey, Harmon getting that dev trade, that is huge. So to start the offseason, I'm going to decline the option on Broderick Jones because I think we can get ahead of a big contract extension for a player that I think, 25-76. If this rebuild goes 5, 6, 7 years, he'll be in the mid-80s by that point. If we get him a long-term extension, I think there's going to be some very nice savings that come along with that. I mean, Jaylen Warren, honestly, the fact that he almost got 1,000 yards and he's only looking for... I always think you can live with that if he wants to take it, and he does. So we'll keep him for 3 more years. But for that cap hit, for the fact that he almost got 1,000 yards on a pass-heavy offense, could work out. As we get for the 2026 draft, I think our biggest position of need would either be a 3-4 defensive end, which Falk's probably the only great fit. He's going 6. We're not going to be able to trade up that high. Corner. That works out. We got Mansour Delane from LSU, 6'1", 192, A-man, B-zone. That would certainly get the job done. You could look... Okay. Have a couple plans. I don't know if they're going to work out this season. We got to figure out something to do with Nick Herbig. There's value there, but I think the value is not going to come for trading him straight up. I think the value would be, could I trade a second-round pick in Herbig to get it back up into the first round and get, an Overtune at 6'5", 290, who would be a scheme fit? So with our first pick, we're going to be able to go here, and, we have a decision to make between Malik Muhammad and Delane. I think the fact that I've used Muhammad in a rebuild not too late, and I don't think I've used Delane yet, will be the tiebreaker between who we are selecting. Let's just grab Delane here right now. Boom. 15 in true value at 17. Hidden dev, 6'1", 92 acceleration, 92 speed. So he'll be able to contribute probably as corner 3, maybe even push Beanie Bishop for that corner 3 spot. But we're thinking long-term, Slay has absolutely only 1 more year left, and we're just kind of future-proofing the corner position. So, I just started spoiling because obviously I had to go pick by pick. The Saints at 21 went Overton, the player I would want to trade up for. I offered a second-round pick, 2/3, and Herbig, and it was just barely getting into the yellow. So the trade didn't work out there. So I'm looking at my contracts next season. Who's about to be a pending free agent? Herbig's going to be one. Broderick Jones is going to be one. Patrick Queen's an interesting one, where you might want to save a couple bucks there at linebacker. So I'm going to look here in the second round at C.J. Hicks. Maybe BPA on the board, 8 pursuit B tackle, elite speed, didn't attend to the combine, so that always piques my interest a little bit. And we end up getting, fuck, man, I'm not drafting particularly well. I'm going to double up on linebackers here. Deontay Lawson out of Alabama. I think we might have a shot at a dev trade here. 111 at 81. Nope. Okay, never mind. Keep on keeping on. So we wrap up very frustrating draft outside of the first round. Tried multiple trades. And we'll just remove the swearing count from my video by not including them. End up, overall, a couple high 60s. Deontay Lawson, 70. Just because, Peyton Wilson's a little bit older of a player. Gives us linebacker 3 depth. And if we don't want to re-sign Peyton Wilson, come the end of it, he'll probably, 28 at the end of his contract. We'll have at least 2 guys that can play inside linebacker that are on rookie contracts. Delane's an absolute hit, though. At 17, getting a 77 hidden dev. But I really wish we were able to find a trade partner for Herbig. Now I just, might be able to trade him for a future 4th, because there's no way I'm re-signing him. We are going to find a reasonable trade partner, sending Herbig and a 5th round pick this year to get a 2028 3rd round pick next year, once we get into the Madden generated classes. It's important to note that from the Atlanta Falcons, who are desperate for pass rush help. So as we go into year 2, you might notice something about the offense that could stick out potentially. We couldn't find a starter at every single position, and oddly enough, Darnell Washington is right in line to start at left guard. Why not? The midway point of year number 2, not bad with a tight end guard hybrid to be 7-3. We're coming off a pretty rough loss against the Panthers. But all things considered, very happy with where we're at. We have an insane amount of salary cap, which is good. We also, with our draft last season, gave ourselves opportunities to make, the best investment decision. So I think we got Boswell at kicker. I think we can all admit I had Boswell on my fantasy football team last year. Probably the best kicker in the league. So we're going to pay him a good amount there. We have Minkah Fitzpatrick at... Okay, Joey Porter needs to take priority. I think we lock him in on a 4-year, 42. We look at Patrick Queen. Now, this is where we kind of... Okay, Broderick Jones, yes. Well, at 5 years, under 10 mil every single season. And I think, his ceiling, 84, 85 left tackle, under 10 mil, an absolute bargain. I think we look at Beanie Bishop, who is, he's a DB. He can play safety, he can play nickel, he can play slot. I think there's value in this contract for sure. Even, right there around $15 million. I could probably get him for 16, which is still a reasonable player for his ceiling. That's going to be probably low 80s. Washington's a little expensive. Keanu Benton, that's, a key guy I would like to keep. 4 years, 62 on that defensive line, give or take. Patrick Queen and Minkah are the interesting ones. I don't feel like that's great value on Minkah Fitzpatrick, and we have to overpay. I definitely don't want more than 4 years. Let's round that up. Let's go 13 and 12. 4-year, $100 million. I think he'll regress fine. Now, when you take a look at Patrick Queen, this is where we need to make a decision. Because the bad news is, I'm going to gamble because he's been great for us. This contract extension went beyond the trade deadline. Because I was thinking, if things don't work out, maybe we trade him. If it doesn't look like we're going to be able to re-sign him long-term. We drafted a couple linebackers in the draft, but they are far from Patrick Queen. And Patrick Queen's not really at his ceiling. 27, he still probably has 2 more years of growth and development. So that means, by the end of this contract, he's still, maybe the dev trade will be shit the bed. But, I feel like that's a reasonable contract, all things considered, for Patrick Queen. So we'll get him signed in. Only player that's kind of getting screwed right now is Darnell Washington. We'll come back for Beanie Bishop. And, Slay's almost guaranteed to retire. But if he's looking for another 1 year to run it back, let's do it. All right, so the end of year number 2, 10-7. Third straight season of the Steelers going 10-7. However, the offense doesn't really have an identity. It's not like Joe Milton is playing like an MVP favorite. Their defense played pretty well, all things considered, but far from having an elite unit on either side of the ball. Joe Milton, 3,500 yards, 27 touchdowns to 20 picks. It's just one of those, I don't know. I don't know how to necessarily solve this issue. Run game was pretty good. Jalen Warren, 1,000 yards for DK Metcalf, just under 1,000 for George Pickens. So, those guys are eating, but no one else kind of is. Defensively, Patrick Queen, still, I'd say, relatively justifying the contract extension. It kind of screws up the value of some of our picks last year because we did double up on linebacker. We had 19 sacks from TJ Watt, 9.5 from Derek Harmon, 8.5 from Alex Highsmith, Benton with 15 TFL. So those guys are producing. And on the interception front, 6 picks from Peyton Wilson, 5 from Beanie Bishop, who I've moved to strong safety, and he is thriving in that. He's also playing a little bit of nickel, so it's not too far-fetched and too off of what he has to do in real life for the Steelers. Interception numbers, real good. For award winners, TJ Watt wins both Linebacker of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. He's been awesome, and we need him to be awesome. In the first round of the playoffs, we have the Buffalo Bills. Anti-tush push. Cowards. Frauds. I hope we beat them. But we beat them with a tush push. We do. 30-24. Suck it. Oh, that's a nice win, man. I would love to see, too. And it's an overtime win. Milton, Pittsburgh's just not a prolific passing team, but Look at that hat trick, a touchdown for Rocket Sanders, over 100 yards for Jalen Warren. Wilson, the third wide receiver. There you go. Patrick Queen, though, justifying that contract. He was all over the place. Give him game ball. Who got the pick? Love to see it be Delane. Oh, it's Joey Porter. In the division round, we get a divisional bitter rival in the Baltimore Ravens. Anytime these teams match up, especially in the playoffs, must-see television. Joe Milton, Lamar Jackson, let's go, baby. Hell yeah. Now, are we winning maybe despite our quarterback? Maybe. Do we have cheat codes standing in front of us? Maybe. Joe Milton, 2 touchdowns, only 1 touchdown for Lamar Jackson. We were able to gut in there and run the football fairly well. 4 touchdowns so far for Rocket Sanders. DK with a tutty. Defensively, Patrick Queen, a little bit of revenge game. Sacks. We get after it. And hey, if someone's going to be able to go shock the Chiefs, it might just be this Steelers team on a Cinderella run. We need to keep it low scoring. Look, that's a lot of green. 54 touchdowns from Patrick Mahomes. We're going to shock the world, baby. Come on. Fuck. I mean, if it happens, you rebuild a team in the AFC, you are going to have many seasons end like this. And, I mean, fact of the matter is, we got to get Joe Milton playing better. We are not going to win much if our quarterback is, like, pedestrian in the playoff run. Now, our secondary is very good. Did not play very good. Our pass rush didn't get a single pass rush. So, you know, when your strength is your defense gets absolutely dominated, haven't seen that out of Joe Milton to carry the offense and carry this team if the defense isn't on point, which is a problem. Oh, wow. Second straight year they win the Super Bowl. Cool, 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 cool. As far as dev traits are concerned, only dev trait gain on defense is Beanie Bishop in his new position at safety. We lose the dev trait on Slay, who did not retire during the first stage. So, yeah, still 79. Capable as a corner 3 next season. But we go into this offseason, probably need to consider a 3-4 defensive end potentially. But I think offensively, let's get a guard here so we're not kind of memeing around. Maybe we look at an upgrade at wide receiver 3 and just, you know, without having to be like, oh, I got to fire the OC to try to get a better sim playbook. Let's see what we can solve the Joe Milton problem while still remaining true to the Steelers offense. So we're going to decline the 5th-year option for Fatano to get ahead of that contract next offseason. We're going to go to in free agency. We had almost over 100, I think we had $105 million to start this. We're going to go and sign Peter Skoronski, plug and play at left guard. You know what I am going to do? I'm not going to change our offensive scheme, but what I am is I am going to find a quarterback guru coach, which should help the development of Joe Milton. So what we're able to do with the offense is complete the offensive line, and now with Milton and the QB guru, it gives him +5 to his base overall. So we now have him maxed out at 99 throw power. He got +3 to his deep, medium, and short accuracies. Maybe that's what he's missing. Also, how does Joe Milton only have 50 break sack? That's bizarre. So we wait all the way to pick 29 in the 2027 class, our final class of real players. And looking at where we want to go, I'm going to pivot from going quarterback just because we got the QB guru. I want to show that faith in Joe Milton, but we do need to consider if this year doesn't go well, maybe Milton is a fun experiment, but maybe not the answer. Look at the players that are available. We have Ryan Wingo, who is a first-round talent at wide receiver. That could be very interesting. Claire at tight ends, another interesting name because Frymouth is in a contract year, and I don't think we'll be re-signing him. I also scouted a corner here. Yeah, so we're going to go wide receiver. Scouting did not yield much. We're pretty much going to be in blind pick territory this whole draft, but Ryan Wingo gives us a little bit of juice here at wide receiver. First round potential, 42 in true value at 29, but he rolls a dev trait. We're due. I don't think we've had on a dev trait yet. Year 0, whatever you want to call it. We got Derek Harmon, normal dev. We did get the hidden dev on Delane, then a bunch of normal devs. So we have not drafted particularly well in this rebuild. Wingo's a great final first pick of the realistic classes. Screw the true rate. I'm going to gamble we'll get a dev trade here on Luke Reynolds at tight end, 126 at 60. Oh, god damn it. Of course not. Dev traits don't exist for the Steelers. Just freaking rebuild. So looking at our draft recap, we get a real nice value guard here. Ione from Penn State, 72. Normal dev, but anytime you get 70 plus, you feel pretty good about that, especially with this 2027 class being a little more difficult to find value, if you will. Wingo being 73 with the dev trait, 69 for Reynolds, at least gives us a tight end option in-house if we do decide to let Frymouth walk. But, hey, solid class. Nothing too crazy, nothing too weak. Now we're into year 3. From a rating standpoint, Joe Milton has never been better with the assistance of the QB guru. And still, I mean, progress a little bit offensively. Defense's points are pretty good. But at 5-5, we just don't really have an idea like how we're going to finish this season. Are we going to get hot, roll into the playoffs? Are we going to end Mike Tomlin's above 500 streak? I kind of feel like with the polarizing play at quarterback, anything is on the table. With over $90 million of salary cap, I think we're going to have great opportunity. I think we got to commit to Joe Milton. Even at that price point, we can still draft a quarterback if, break glass in case of emergency situation arises. Peyton Wilson has been incredible, even though it's probably best to let our linebackers walk given the draft investments 2 years ago. He, had 5 picks last year. Got to keep him in the building. We have Troy Fatanu on the offensive line. Let's lock him in on a 4-year, $69 million deal. We have Frazier at center. I think that's just another one. Boom. 3 years. Lock you in. Highsmith, the X-Factor pass rusher. Yep, pretty much got to deal with that one as well. 4 years locked in. $15 million remaining. We're going to have to replace McCormick at guard. And the salary cap certainly got tighter. And from here on out, even though it's not a $400 million contract with Milton, he's no longer on that rookie deal. So you need to start performing because from here on out, we likely are going to have tough roster decisions to make come free agency and re-signing time. So for the 4th straight year, the Steelers go 10-7. For the 2nd time in those 4 years, we still miss the playoffs. First team out. That is brutal. 2 10-7 teams make it. 1 doesn't. And we are the doesn't. Damn it. Looking at the numbers, Joe Milton. I mean, he cut down the picks. If he cuts down, he can keep these interceptions single digit, and we could get 2 or 3 more. We can get 30 plus passing touchdowns. We're probably gonna feel pretty decent. Our run game was effective. DK went off. Pickens has been. It was better when they were both getting 1,000 yards. Wingo, decent role play numbers. Frymouth, replaceable. Like that's gonna be a nice contract to get off the books, I think. Peyton Wilson led the team in tackles, 12.5 sacks for Watt, 12 from Highsmith, 11.5 for Derek Harmon, 5.5 for Benton. And the interception numbers, 5 for Beanie Bishop, thriving in the position switch. And I think right now, honestly, with how they're both playing, Wilson and Queen, they both got new contract extensions, worth the contract extensions, and playing at a very high level. And of course, Mason McCormick, the one lineman for whatever he gets O-lineman of the year, which likely will be a dev trade increase. Can't afford to keep him. TJ Watt gets linebacker of the year, Highsmith runner-up, and Beanie Bishop gets DB of the year. Nice. At least the Chiefs didn't win 3 Super Bowls in a row. Now, as far as depth traits are concerned, McCormick for getting lineman. That's so annoying, man. That was just so RNG, and literally anybody else on the line getting that award would be beneficial to our team. Milton has not gone up a dev trait, but he's technically, well, he was 85 overall, right? So I feel all right about all that. Defensively, Beanie Bishop did not go up dev trait, even though he won DB of the year. TJ Watt loses his X Factor. Patrick Queen gains a superstar. And is Slay still here? Slay must have retired at some point. Okay. We're going to start things out by declining the 5th-year option on Derek Harmon. He's absolutely going to be cheaper than $30 million a year. Man, McCormick getting lineman of the year. That's just a pain in the ass for that to happen. Throw him an offer. 3-year, 22. Hey, there we go. So for the 2028 NFL draft, does feel nice to be back in the world of, generated players. Because this is where we can use our knowledge to make smart decisions. Now, what I did scout here, couple nice running backs. Jalen Warren has been playing well, but he's regressing. Devin Wagner looks incredible. But the fact of the matter is, I was able to find your classic power back in Derby. Who has all these ones, and usually these guys are a little bit slower. And he ran a 4.42. Usually they're high 4.4s, low 4.5s. Scouted him as a first round. So that's going to be where we go in the running back room. Our other need, we have tight end. There'll be a couple guys here that look interesting. A couple dudes that have A traits, A catching traffic for Guy Nut. Moore has decent stats. A catching traffic for Carruthers out of Penn State. So I think we can wait a little bit on tight end. That's just, again, to prepare for getting Freiermuth's contract out the books. But our big need, I think, is 3-4 defensive end. And the top guy that I scouted, I still like the card here. ABA, 6'4", 301. Combine's not brutal. But that's, at 18, you probably want to get a little bit more bang for your buck. And that's what we have here in Lindsley. A finesse move, B tackle, 6'5", 290. And he has elite traits. But we also have Derek Harmon going into a 5th-year option. And that could be a contract that we want to, you know, you want to get this guy in the first round. So we're in a really, really tough spot here. And, man, I don't know. I feel like we get everybody we scouted. I think we start with Applewhite, even if the value's not there, because I'll be able to get that running back. I'll be able to get that D tackle in the corresponding rounds. We also have the additional pick that that was stupid, man. What are we doing here? Got the additional pick from the Herbig trade. 62 at 18. Now, he does have a dev trait, but as far as, like, pick to value, that might be one of my worst picks ever. I didn't think it was going to be that. I thought he'd be in the 40s. All right, second round, we're going to draft Derby at running back. Now, sometimes these guys have great ratings, maybe not dev traits, maybe limited ceilings. 21 in true value at 50. He does roll a dev trait. Love to see that. Now, the first pick of the third round, Lindsley is still there, the D tackle that I really want, especially after whiffing on the first round. We have 2 third-round picks. Honestly, I almost think we offered both of them to just move up here. Actually, that would have been overpaying. I was able to get it for a 4th and a 7th this year to move up about 20 spots, and I kept our highest third-round pick. So we may be able to look and explore the tight end market here. There's a couple guys that are still on the board that I did like, but let's not mess around here. Let's get the value selection in Lindsley. Trust. Okay, 47. So he's pretty much the same kind of player that I thought our first-round pick was going to be. And he does roll a dev trait. Thank God, man, we're in the generated classes. This is where I thrive. Of course, look at that. As soon as we make our pick, like, oh, let's look at tight end. 1, 2, 3 tight ends go before our pick, which shrinkens the market even more. Looking at the tight ends that aren't available. Well, what we want to do is look for the athletes of the bunch. And we got 4.59 on Brandon Carruthers. A 5. Jesus. Hang it up, buddy. But so what we got at Carruthers? 4.59. A catch in traffic. 6'6", 250. Elite agility. Great speed. Great strength. You, sir, are a Pittsburgh Steeler. You live with that. Let's go! Another dev trait. Let's go. Fuck yeah, we need this. So all in all, the master plan worked. Even though Applewhite, 73, you can live with that. He was, what, in the 60s for true val? You can live with a 73 hidden dev. Even though, in hindsight, you know, Lindsay, it only worked because we got the players that we wanted. If I went Applewhite, and we knew that was a little bit of a reach, even though he's a good scheme fit, and then we missed out and weren't able to get Lindsley, who we scouted as a first-round talent, then that would have been, the pain in the ass. But we got Derby at running back. We got Lindsay. We took a flyer on just what looked like the best tight end. 74 with a dev trait. Got some decent depth here straight, but these are 4 guys that are absolutely going to contribute. Midseason of year 4. There we go. No guesswork. We're off to a hot start now. We did just get the break speed off us by the Eagles a couple weeks ago. But, they're the Super Bowl champions. It's going to happen. Am I in love with the fact that we are 30th in passing? No. But I am pretty much at the, I don't know what the word, acceptance that if we find a way to win with Joe Milton, it's not going to be because of Joe Milton. We're going to have to build a team around Joe Milton because the Steelers' passing offense is incredibly limited, even with the addition of DK Metcalf. So, not a great year to have both your wide receivers wanting paydays. We'll say that. Mr. Watt is going to get paid. He's first guy, absolutely still playing at a very high level, even though Father Time took away his dev trait. Gelati's just a role player. Freiermuth hasn't earned his contract. Harmon has earned a contract. 4-year, $108 million deal. Boom. The fact of the matter is, we probably need to commit to Pickens here. A little more tread left. I could probably get both of them, honestly. If they both want to take these offers, yeah, hey, why not? Because if our passing offense is not this underwhelming with both DK Metcalf and George Pickens, what would it look like losing one of them? Even worse. We might have the worst passing offense in the league. So the end of year number 4, no messing around. After 2 10-7 playoff miss seasons, we go 12-5. Usually 12-5 is not good enough to win your own division, let alone the 1 seed, but we earn the 1 seed in the AFC. So even though we have the 30th passing offense, Joe Milton is the 1 seed. He has led this team to the 1 seed. We have, hey, there we go, 30 touchdowns. I knew we could do it. 30 touchdowns, 10 picks. Peter Derby, the rookie running back, first 1,000-yard running back we've had this whole rebuild, I'm pretty sure. We had 2,000-yard receivers again. Happy that we paid both these dudes. Solid production out of Ryan Wingo as our 3rd option. Both our linebackers, our expensive linebackers, played like expensive linebackers. 16.5 sacks, Highsmith, 10 from Watt, 8 from Harmon, 4.5 from Benton. 3 picks, Delane, 3 picks from Minka. Decent interception numbers. And I'm getting some post-season hardware as Peter Derby gets Offensive Rookie of the Year, which should yield a nice dev trade. And we're also able to get Highsmith with Linebacker of the Year, which should at minimum maybe prevent dev trait regression this offseason. For the first round of the playoffs, after kicking our feet up in the wild card round, the 12-5 Steelers get the 9-8 Denver Broncos, who are kind of similarly built to us. We score more points. Both teams want to run the football. Both teams want to play good defense. We are the home team. That could be the tiebreaker in this scenario. And we win ugly, 19-3. Ugh. And it is Derek Harmon, our first-round pick of the rebuild with the hat trick of sacks. Look at the stat. You know, I'd love to sit here and be like, oh, man, look at that Milton, 5 touchdowns. Just not what he needs to do. Did get the rushing touchdown, which is sick. Did move the football when he needed to and let the defense seal the deal. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sacks of the day. And with that, we are into the AFC Championship game. There's no Chiefs got destroyed by the Broncos. We got the Dolphins. Wow. Rarely see them go on playoff runs. But I am pretty sure Tua just got Offensive Player of the Week. I mean, they also didn't score over 20 points. So this is probably going to be a butt-ass ugly game. 10-7 Dolphins. Number 1 defense in the NFL, Miami Dolphins. That is weird. But the AFC runs through the Steelers Stadium. It's Heinz Field to me, damn it. I'm not calling it Acrisure Stadium. I mean, anytime you don't play the Chiefs, that's a good rule. And we got there. We're in the Super Bowl, baby. Joe Milton is at least a Super Bowl appearance quarterback. Low scoring, 17-14, old school. We're winning the way the Steelers win. Both quarterbacks, you know, can't go over 200. Milton protects the football. Our run game was on point. Pickens almost 100 yards. DK with a touchdown. And then defensively, 0 sacks. Just like the worst game to watch of all time. Nothing exciting happened outside of the fact that we are in the Super Bowl year 4. That'd be nice. That means next year just play with house money for the 5th year of the rebuild. As always, realistic rebuilds, right? Minimum of 5, maximum of 10 seasons to win a Super Bowl. And even though this is a Joe Milton themed video, we are far from here because of Joe Milton. But you never know. All it takes is 1 game. And it looks like Green Bay going to be scoring points. It's a good offense versus a good defense. But if they score points, we're going to have to rely on Joe Milton and our run game to keep pace with the Green Bay Packers. Come on, baby. Let's see it happen. Let's rock and roll, man. As you know, Milton helmet always on, like Cyrus from the Trailer Park Boys. Safety always on. Milton helmet always on. Year 4 of a minimum 5-year, maximum of 10-year rebuild, but it'd be great to get this Super Bowl under our belts here this season and continue just to build and reestablish the brand of the Pittsburgh Steelers' most historically dominant franchise in NFL history. First touchdown goes to the Steelers. We get a safety from the defense, and if we can score a touchdown, we got to settle for a field goal. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. But we are marching up and down the field, and our great defense has pitched a shutout through 3 quarters, and we get a turnover on down. Shutout! 0 points! Let's go! Joe Milton wasn't pretty. And these are the kind of rebuilds that I appreciate and I like. It's not always a quarterback where you got to fire your OC and hire a cheese playbook or yada, 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 yada. We won with not great quarterback play. but still good enough for Joe Milton in this scenario as the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers to lead them and bring them to a Super Bowl, to let the defense and run game, the way that Pittsburgh historically has been able to win football games, to win them a Super Bowl. That is a 3-0 undefeated playoff run, a Super Bowl win versus Green Bay, and we still get to run it back for one more season. Try and get a couple Super Bowls here. Look at that. Oh, ugly. Look at that. We held Jordan Love to 56 yards passing. And it wasn't that long ago, maybe a month ago, that we found out Green Bay has maybe one of the most overpowered sim offenses in all of Madden. We were putting up video game numbers. Now, if we're giving MVP out here, honestly, it's pretty much anyone that could watch this game without turning it off. Honestly, let's see who the game gives MVP to, because that is, we're champions. That's all that matters. So I'd like to congratulate Super Bowl MVP. Still don't really have any more clarity on that. I mean, just, it's our defense. I think we'll give it to Watt because it reflects the defense. Look at what we did. 56, I mean, yeah. Let's go. Now things open up a little bit because we had the Super Bowl win. Well, now it gives us a little bit of luxury with the salary cap. We drafted a real nice tight end, so I do think we've kind of been hyping up. We'll move off of Frymouth. You got to justify and earn your contract. I don't think he's necessarily done that, but I'll tell you what. We'll let old man Boswell finish out this rebuild. Overpay. 3.3 mil. Why not? All right, so looking at our offense now, where do we need, like, the O looks good. I don't think we have to spend any crazy money in free agency. I do want to spend as much money as we possibly can to give us the best chance at running it back. But Carruthers, we drafted 78 star dev tight end to take over for Frymouth, which I'm fine with. O-line is in place. Receivers are in place. Run game Darby is incredible. What a value pick. Scouted him, first rounder. Everything about him looked like a first rounder. Perfect stylistic player for this Steelers team. And with that, Rookie of the Year award goes from star up to superstar, which is gigantic. We're finding a way to win with Joe Milton. When we look to the defense, you know, could use maybe a more upsidey corner 3. D-line, feel good with that. Benton, Applewhite, Harmon, all have dev traits. Lost the superstar on Minka. Got one more year. I mean, this team's ready to go. Like, grab another corner, laugh our way back to a Super Bowl. Or say screw it and pay Jalen Hurts if we wanted to. Well, Denzel Burke being up there at corner. That certainly, yeah, give him very player friendly. That's all we need. We need one more player. I'll even pay more. I'll go very player friendly and I'll round it up. We'll go 16 and 15 and a half. $189 million to join the Super Bowl champions. He's not that stupid. Let's go. So our final draft of the rebuild, the 2029 NFL draft, picking at 32. We have no needs whatsoever. So if we were kind of thinking logically, we're looking for BPA. I focused scouted wide receivers just in case this didn't work out. The DK's probably the next guy up that, you know, it just, you know, it might not work out. The progression could start hitting. Not really much there. I think if you're blind picking, what do we have? Anything on the O-line? Got some A pass block, A run block guys? No. What about on this side? Got B pass block, B run block, which is not bad. I'm not over the moon there. Jesus, dude. There's just nothing. I mean, luxury, we don't really need anything. What about corners? Is there any like 6'2", 6'3" corner that ran a 4'3"? Oh, what do we got here? Tracy Winters and a 4'2". Samuel, 6'1". Okay, nothing crazy there, though, to be honest with you. Any letter grades? A-zone, A-zone, A-man. Maybe Winters? A-zone, C-catching, 6'1", 180. Elites. Kind of a blind pick, to be honest. I mean, he's probably a top 25 player. No, top 10 player. Hell yeah. Sure, why not? So take a look at our draft recap. You know, top heavy, only had one player. We kind of blind picked our way through it here. Got a quarterback, Ian Kelly, following my short list. And, hey, anytime you get 99 throw power, we have a type. If you go Joe Milton and now Ian Kelly at quarterback, we have a type. You can throw the football over the mountains. It's good enough for Mike Tomlin. We start year number 5 of this rebuild as your defending Super Bowl champions, looking around things out here as back-to-back. Our offense looks pretty damn good. I think probably George Pickens deserved to be a superstar, but I think every other dev trade is realistic where it should be. Joe Milton, the man of the hour. I mean, has he worked out? He won a Super Bowl, so I'll let you be the judge of that. But, I mean, statistically speaking, wasn't bad. Probably not drastically different than, like, the play the Steelers have got years past out of, you know, your Justin Fields, your Russell Wilsons of the world, but also won a Super Bowl. Didn't hurt the team. Wasn't turning the ball over. And still has, you know, a magnificent skill set. Unfortunately, we did lose the QB guru offensive coordinator. Couldn't find one to replace. So he doesn't have the massive +5 temporary boost. Will that come back to bite us in the ass? Potentially, but you know what? We'll let him finish out this rebuild. He earned it with the C on his chest. But the bread and butter of this team has been running the football, and we got ourselves a superstar rookie last year, now into a sophomore. It's been the defense, man. Derek Harmon, Benton, Applewhite. Highsmith, Wilson, Queen, Watt. I thought paying both these linebackers was going to come back to bite me in the ass, and it's only justified that sometimes it is worth paying these linebackers because our defense pitched us out of the Super Bowl. They were dominant that entire playoff run. Beanie Bishop switching him from nickel to safety worked out very well for us as a DB of the Year award under his belt. We paid big-time money to bring Burke in via free agency. Pair that with 88 Joey Porter Jr., 88 Mansour Delane, first-round pick of the 2026 draft, and there is not a single weakness on this Steelers defense. The offense, as long as it doesn't shoot itself in the foot, plays turnover-free football, can have the occasional big game feeding Pickens and DK, run the football behind an outstanding offensive line, we will, at minimum, at least make the playoffs and have a chance to defend our crown. Now, usually year 5 like this, I just sim right to the end of the year, and it is what it is. But yeah, maybe it is worth looking at midseason and be like, okay, we're on pace. We're not going to be just doom and gloom 2-5, miss the playoffs. We are 5-2 right now as it stands. The number 2 rushing offense in the NFL, top 10 in points scored. Passing is not the greatest. Our defense, for how great it was last year, also kind of middle of them all. So at the end of year number 5, our rankings are outstanding. Top 10 in points per game, top 3 rushing offense, the number 1 defense. And the fact that we went from middle defense to elite defense to round things out, 14-3, back-to-back seasons of being the 1 seed. It is our second straight AFC North divisional title, which is a very tough division to win more often than not. Milton just, he is what it is, man. He cut down on the picks. That's all you can ask. Navigate the ship. Peter Derby, what a stud. 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns. Might get running back of the year with those numbers. George Pickens, 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns, 7-3 for DK, 7-5 for Carruthers. Don't love it, but we're a run-first team. Patrick Queen led the team with 98 tackles. Also had 4 interceptions on the season. 14 sacks Harmon, 10.5 from Highsmith, 8.5 from Benton, 7 from Applewhite. Damn, TJ Watt did not age as gracefully as he potentially could have to close out this rebuild. 4 picks, Queen, Burke, and Porter, so big-time interception numbers for the defense. Unfortunately, we did not have a single award winner, which is pretty harsh. I also think Patrick Mahomes won MVP all 5 years of this rebuild. Damn, must be nice. Because we know this is the final year, let's take a look at the stats. What we have been able to achieve statistically throughout these 5 seasons. 18,000 yards passing, 144 touchdowns, 63 picks. For Joe Milton, also chipped in another 13 rushing touchdowns. I think it's a success because you won a Super Bowl with the guy, but also wasn't crazy. Wasn't, I would say, from his standpoint, overly exciting, but every now and again, you need a rebuild like this. I think if people clicked on every single time we do a rebuild like this, and the quarterback that I take goes from obscurity to throwing 40-some, 50 touchdowns, it's going to go, oh, yeah, here we go again. It's the same kind of video, just different makeup, you know, on the pig. But on this time, this pig, we found a different way to win. We brought in a quarterback that could facilitate, even though it would have been cool if he was dominating. And we found an outstanding defense and run game and young running back that put this team all together. DK splitting time between the Steelers and Seahawks. 12,000 yards receiving, 94 touchdowns, 8,000 yards, 58 tutties for George Pickens, which is pretty awesome. And on the defensive side, we have over 1,000 tackles for Patrick Queen, splitting his time, obviously, between the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. 171.5 sacks on 184 TFLs for TJ Watt, 92 sacks Highsmith, 47.5 for Harmon, who was a stud in this video, 26.5 for Benton. And on the picks front, 29 picks, Minkah Fitzpatrick, 16 for Patrick Queen, 16 Peyton Wilson, Beanie Bishop with 16, Denzel Burke, well, we just bought him, and, you know, he's a mercenary for this defense this year. But wherever he got drafted originally, hell of a success story at Ohio State. He's like a third-round pick. Joey Porter with 14 picks. So, I mean, we invested heavily in the secondary and linebackers that were dropping into coverage. So we bought these picks. We bought these turnovers. We invested, however you want to break down, in these turnovers, and it worked out. It was a gamble that was awesome for this Steelers team. I think pivotal for what we had last year on a playoff run, winning a Super Bowl, and will be pivotal this year as we go on a playoff run and hopefully another Super Bowl. So in the first round, we get the 11-6 Houston Texans, who actually have a higher rated defense than us. That's very surprising. That is a lot of green. Looking at their rankings through this is, oof. I mean, we got to trust our defense, but this is a very, very tough matchup in the divisional round. Looking to try to make it. Oh, let's go. 24-6 if we get a chance. To really test how, hey, you want to see how good your defense is? You know? There's the measuring stick. You get the Chiefs. But this one here, we handled business. Defense showed up. 6 points. Forced 2 picks on C.J. Stroud. Joe Milton, God damn it, man. Give me something. He's almost not worthy putting in the thumbnail of the video. Sacks are on point. Patrick Queen, Mansoor Delane with the picks. Come on, baby. We have maybe one of the best sim defenses we've had in a rebuild. Credit where credit is due. This Pittsburgh Steelers Mike Tomlin playbook has these boys playing. But when a unstoppable force meets the immovable object of this steel curtain defense, it'd be cool. It'd be cool to get one here. Yes! Never in doubt. Oh, Joe Milton, his best game all rebuild. Saved it. And we get the interception, the turnover forced by the defense. Oh, I love seeing that for Milton. Oh, I love it. All of them going to DK. 3 catches, 10 yards, 3 touchdowns. A ridiculous stat line. 2 sacks, Benton. Harmon getting after it. Joey Porter with the pick. And the Steelers are back in the Super Bowl. For a chance of getting a little mini dynasty, the team that stands in our way is the 10-7 Washington Commanders, who offensively have a decent run game, but I think they're kind of having similar struggles that we do. Jaden Daniels not playing out of his mind by any means. Their defense is middle of the ball. So if we're playing this game on paper, which we know we don't, that's cliche to say, but pretty much by every measurable, we should win this game. And if you throw in the intangibles, we won the Super Bowl last year. Commanders do not have any, sustainable playoff success to go off of in this video, in this rebuild, in their careers of these players. They had that one, maybe fluke year that we saw last year in real life. We got to close this out. I want to see another shutout from the defense. Let's go, baby. Come on. Greatest defense in rebuild history. Can we do it? Okay, well, we're already on the 8 ball, but 2 field goal attempts. That ain't bad. Gives us time to have 1 decent drive and gain a lead off a touchdown, but they are in scoring range here. Damn. Okay, I mean, it's a 3-point game going in the second half. We open up. We get the ball first. Unfortunately, have to punt. Defense holds through. Ooh, okay, come on, fellas. What is this, dude? 10 points. Okay, 4th down. They're going to go field goal. It's going to be a 6-point game. Do we? We already got our Super Bowl. We'll see. We'll try it once. This play hits, it hits. If it doesn't hit, we'll just skip play by play by play by play. And I hope if DK doesn't win right off the line, he does. Oh, that is... I don't think I've ever missed that. God damn it. All right, let's see if they can do it themselves. Boom, they do it. 26 yards. Milton the Wingo. We followed up with another shot. I was killing the vibes. Wingo again, 28. And we are 25 yards away from winning this Super Bowl. Boom, what do we got there? Running back. Derby, 8 yards. Under a minute to go. Oh, no. Can't take that. Joe fucking Milton, ladies and gentlemen. And now we have the greatest defense we've ever seen. You think they're going to close it out for us to get our Super Bowl? Huh? Final play of the game. It's over. Turnover. Boom. TJ Watt. Back-to-back Super Bowl wins. I'm moving that one to Milton, man. That drive finding Wingo. 3 huge plays. Not every rebuild is going to look the same. Not every time we win a Super Bowl is going to look the same. But when you win it a little bit differently, when you win it and it's not you scoring 40-some points and you win it with the defense. You win it with a clutch play from a now established clutch player, 2-time Super Bowl champion Joe Milton. Feels pretty damn good. There you go, Mr. Tomlin. What is that, Super Bowl 8 for the Pittsburgh Steelers? 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that range. They got so many you lose count. But absolutely, undeniably, we last Super Bowl couldn't figure even remotely who the hell the Super Bowl MVP is. Joe Milton finishes his rebuild off as Super Bowl MVP. Well, that'll do it for today's rebuild. I hope you guys did enjoy. I looked at all the potential rebuilds I could do, and the number one thing I just felt like doing was like, I got to do a Joe Milton rebuild because I'm not doing current pink slips. Milton obviously would be our pink slip quarterback. Very intriguing quarterback. And it just felt like, you know, until Aaron Rodgers news drops, Pittsburgh are a quarterback needy team, and it worked out. We got 2 Super Bowls under our belt. Now we have the issue. We have about 27 days before I have any real motivation to do realistic rebuilds, because obviously that will be when the draft and the first round happens, and then it's going to be full-fledged, every 32-team rebuild is going to be coming up. But until that point, what kind of rebuilds do you guys want to see? Please let me know in the comment section below. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Until next time, with your boy C4, saying peace out. Love ya. Have a good one. Let's go, Joe Milton. Dog.